Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. So my previous subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video in particular, we're going to be talking about 45 executive orders and what that means for the future of the United States. Plus, we will be taking a deep look into the House versus the executive branch, which if you're not aware or you're not really familiarized with how the U.S. government works and operates, the Senate and the House of Representatives is classified under the legislative branch because that is the thing that passes bills. The executive branch is the president, and then we have the judicial branch, which is the Supreme Court. So there's that. So we're going to be talking about the fight between the executive branch and the legislative branch and what that means for the United States, because that has showed up consistently in a lot of my readings, and it has showed up consistently in my Word and Snake video, talking about the Chinese and Lunar New Year, which we have entered into. So for those of you guys that are not aware, we entered officially into the Word and Snake, which is exactly why the first 24 hours of entering into it, we already had a major plane crash on the news in DC. So if you have not already watched my video on that, go ahead and watch it. I highly recommend you do so. There's a lot of good content in there. Anyway, without further ado, we're not going to waste your time. We're just going to go straight on in. This video is being recorded on Thursday, January 30th at 11:28 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, this is the first time I've been doing this in the morning. I have work in like less than an hour. But we're going to try and do this, see what we can do, and then we'll go from there. Now, if you want to help out the channel, you want to help us grow into a larger, wider audience, you can do so by just liking, commenting, and subscribing. And you can watch this video longer than you normally do, which is really good to help the algorithm. It helps the algorithm, hey, I like tarot card readings, I like astrology, show me more of that, and the algorithm will reward you for that. So that's an option to do it. And if you want to follow my Blue Sky account or my Facebook group so you can be notified when I do post and upload, you can do so by following and going into the description below or in the comment section below where you can find all that information. All right, so let's begin. We're not going to have a lot of time, so I'm just going to jump straight in. I just want to let you guys all know is thank you for those of you guys who've been watching, who've been engaging with the content. I don't ask you for donations, none of that. I don't even have a membership. I don't really do any of that type of stuff. But just because of your engagement, we were able to afford the Astro Alignment deck. So thank you for that. All right, so let's begin. We have a lot to get through today, and we'll go from there. You guys let me know in the comment section below what you do think. All right, let's go. All right, so spirits and angels tell me. So you were saying in the before that, actually, let's take a look at Trump's executive orders first. All right, so 45 executive orders. What do we need to know about 45 executive orders? What do we need to know about 45 executive orders? Okay, I feel like something's looking at me, but I swore a card was up. Okay, here it is. This is the card that we use? Okay, they told me I need to put it back because I think we need to keep shuffling. If it comes back out, we'll know it's meant to be there, but just so you can see me shuffling. I didn't even ask the question, guys. Okay, so Spirit Angel, tell me about 45 executive orders. Spelling 45, what's going on with his executive orders in the United States and what's the long-term effects? Okay, this is 45 executive orders, I believe. And then what are the effects within the United States because of those executive orders? What do those affect long-term for the United States because of his executive orders? 45 executive orders. Okay. They told me to take two cards, so I guess we'll just take them. Okay, so the bottom of the deck here we have the 5 of Swords, and then on the top of the deck we have Ace of Wands. Hand over power. For the fight. I think this feels like the legislative branch. This feels like the legislative branch, and here is the fight. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of Wands. You want to know what's really interesting though? It feels like it feels like 45 is totally disregarding the legislative branch entirely. It feels like he's just bypassing it, and that's actually going to piss a lot of Republicans off, because the Republicans wanting worked hard to win those seats. You know, they worked hard to gerrymander their districts so that they could easily win, but nonetheless, he is bypassing the legislative branch is what it feels like. I feel like there's going to be a disconnect between the Republicans in the legislature and the Republicans in the executive. That's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. We all know how that story is going to go. Alright, so the first card that comes up here, this is for, I think, 45 executive orders. What is this then? Okay, so what is this? Okay, are you of the light consciousness? Okay, are you of the light consciousness? Are you of the light consciousness? Are you of the light consciousness? This is not my bias, right? Okay, so this actually, I'm going to recorrect myself here based on what my guys were telling me, that this row here is not representing the executive orders that 45 has been passed in. This row is representing the executive orders that 45 has been passed in right here. And this represents the United States. So the top row represents the United States. So there's strength here. Okay, there's strength. Then there is the 5 of Wands reverse. Okay. Followed by the 9 of Pentacles. Okay, this feels like a Statue of Liberty card here. Then we have the Temperance card reversed. This feels like religion. Temperance is reversed. Followed by the Queen of Cups. Restrictions, which is the Queen of Cups. And then here we have the Hanged Man upright. I always feel like it's reversed, but it's actually upright. And here's the Hanged Man. Lack of education. So I'm going to read it to you in simple terms. Alright, so we have military strength, followed by lack of ability to protest your rights or protest for each other. Right, that means like people like going out and voting. If it doesn't affect them, they don't care. That's kind of like the attitude that a lot of Americans seem to have. Here we have is the liberty. You know, people take their liberty for granted, but I'm also hearing there is privilege in that liberty. Here we have temperance, which is the lack of police, or the lack of the police to do the right thing. This has to do with the police in some way, temperance. I was thinking maybe it was healthcare, but is this healthcare? It is healthcare. Okay, they're saying it is also healthcare, so it's healthcare and police. Then we have it with the Queen of Cups, which means voter suppression. It's talking about restriction of votes, you know, the restriction of your rights and stuff like that. That's why it's on a cup that with a closed lid, which means you are being kept contained. And then here we have is the Hanged Man. This actually should have been the prison, but I guess this is the prison. We have the Hanged Man, which is all that terrorism, all that what's it called? All that not national disaster, but all those domestic attacks in the United States. Like the Hanged Man, this also represents white supremacy and the salute that Elon did, all that. That's what that represents. Okay, so this is what the United States is going through right now. Okay, this is the effects of 45. Okay, now this is the long-term effect. Now, what are we going to see here? What is his executive order that he's doing? The first executive order has to do with the military and the military strength. We have the Sun card reverse. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, so it's telling me here that the strength card, even though it represents the military, it represents peace through strength. Okay, so let me just tell you and read to you what that means. That's a type of military strategy, I believe. So let's see, what's a peace through strength? Okay, peace through strength is a phrase that suggests that military power can help preserve peace. It has been used by many leaders from Roman Emperor Hadrian to the 2nd century AD to former US President Ronald Reagan in 1980. The concept has been long associated with real politics. Okay, so The reverse sun colors mean Trump or 45 will not really honor peaceful strength anymore, is what it feels like. It feels like, what does it feel like now? Is it imperialism? What is this? Is it neutrality? Okay, so I'm hearing he's going to impose his will on others, which is the sun card reverse. He's going to impose his will on others. He's going to use the military in a way that does not create peace, but creates chaos. Okay, these are the American people, right? These are the long-term effect of 45 and his executive orders. The people, the Five of Wands, people don't revolt. They don't really go out and support one another. They're kind of like fighting for themselves, and that's really it. They're not willing to be in that collective mindset. That's also part of the collective lesson that we need to learn here, is to be more united and to not be so divided. And that's particularly why you see countries like the United States failing in almost every aspect, where you start to see like countries like France, where the people always protest, they're doing quite well for themselves in regard to the people. So that's the difference between the two, is that a lot of people don't go out and support one another. And we can kind of see that. I mean, you can look at it like people are not protesting because of like unions and all those things. They care about the materialistic things, and that has hampered their ability to fight for what they really need and what things that are going to actually help them along in life. It almost feels like they don't fight. They're very docile, a lot of Americans. They're very docile. There's executive orders here. We have the Ace of Pentacles, which means that if you don't fight or if you don't protest for what you want, you won't get what you want. And here's the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles is saying that nothing gets handed to you anymore. There is no handout. There is nothing that will be helping you. So, say, for example, he goes out and removes Medicaid and Medicare, and you don't protest for that, you're not going to get it. Like that's it. It's done. It's gone. That is the Ace of Pentacles. He's saying here that if for everything that he does, you have to protest, protest, protest. You have to get out there and you have to protest. You have to be able to fight for it. Is what he's saying. He's saying nothing gets handed to you anymore. Nothing. The government doesn't work for the people anymore. So you have to fight to make the government work for you. I think it's a very eye-opening message. I think for that. Here we have the Nine of Pentacles, which is talking about the liberty and okay, they're also telling me the liberty, and they've told me is I also forgot to include the economy. So it has to talk about liberty and the economy, right? The privilege, right? They're talking about those who don't realize that liberty doesn't come to all, but come to the privilege in some way. And here we have the reverse Four of Wands. And this is like the capital or something like that. But it's reversed. And this is telling me here that Wall Street. This is like feels like a Wall Street. Because if you think about it, these are the four wands, and it's a connection between the two. This feels like Wall Street. This feels like the stock market doesn't do well under 45. The stock market does not do well. We've talked about this before. I mean, it's not a surprise. I mean, if you think about it, I talked about his bad economy and what that's going to be like. If you have not ready, go back a couple of videos and you will find my 45 economy video, which I highly recommend you go and try and watch. It's really good. But that's what it's saying. It's saying here that there is that coming down and that instability within the stock market and possibly the economy, since both of those do go hand in hand. In terms of privilege, I do feel like this is the end of privilege in modern terms, if you know what I mean. Now, I'm not saying privilege won't go away, but it's going to be the ending of the privilege of modern ways of doing things, because there's going to be a new formality that's formed up. I haven't done this video yet, but I talked about on my channel, like I think 3 years ago. I said that in hindsight, racism is going to be a long thing of the past, but white supremacy will still remain. Now you're probably asking yourself, well, Chris, how does that work? If racism is the thing of the past, but white supremacy still remains, well, they become modernized, if you know what I mean. So if those who are lighter skin will co-join themselves with white supremacy, and for those who have darker skin will co-join themselves with those who are not part of that the ideology. That's kind of like what it feels like. It feels like they're going to modernize themselves and position themselves. Oh, we're not hateful. Look, we're accepting of everybody. But really, the hindsight, the moral and concept is, Well, we'll accept anybody as long as they are not a darker complexion. It's what it feels like. That is not something that I endorse, but that is something that I've been feeling for quite some time, that we're going to get a modern version of something similar to that. You know, you can kind of see that already now. 2 years later, you can kind of see that with a lot of Latinos who voted for 45, thinking that they were going to be part of that white supremacy class, only to be realized that they were shunned out. I mean, are you really that surprised? I don't know what to tell those people, honestly. Alright, so going back to the reading here, we have the Temperance card. The Temperance card is talking about prison and healthcare. What is going on long term in the United States in terms of prison and healthcare? Let's take a look. We have the Queen of Pentacles. This has to do with women and abortion and women's rights. This is interesting because it talked about inequality here. It talked about inequality and instability within the healthcare region, specifically in regards to for women, but also it feels like in regards to children, and also in regards to those who are within the transitional period, specifically more likely women transition into men than men transition to women. And here is what I'm getting, and I'm going to say this now. Again, this video is just for entertainment purposes only and for educational purposes only. Everything I say in this video is alleged. What it feels like, the issue isn't with trans in the way that you would think it is. The issue is the fact that they don't want women to be transitioning to men. That's the issue. But they don't mind men transitioning to women. Because again, to them, they see women as inferior. And in that is they believe that if you believe that you are a woman, that you can be controlled. And that's the whole idea here. This is the patriarchy. This is the patriarchy here. It's represented how the Temperance in reverse. Which means instability, means restriction, imbalance, being restricted, which could be why we saw the prison card. That there is that restriction there. That restriction and inability to what to call it, be able to have the rights you need to be able to be free. Kind of feels like that. It feels like that restrictive energy, this restrictive that mindset of like you're thinking that you're inferior while they're superior. They don't mind trans people going from men to women, but they mind when women go to men. That's where the scary part is, because they lose the dominance and control on a woman transitioning into a man. So I talk about screwed up mindset. Okay, going back. The next card that we have here is that voter suppression, the Queen of Cups. Voter suppression, restriction of some type in some way. So there is going to be more of that restrictive energy. It kind of feels like Alien Sedition Act as, I think, 1792. I believe this is what President John Adams. 45 is going to enact something similar to that, the Alien and Sedition Acts. And that is what it feels like. It feels like there's a lot of restrictions here, even on people's rights. It feels like there's restriction on the Bill of Rights in some way. And here we have a transformation, a rebirth, something gets renewed. There's something from the past that Trump does, or 45 does really, is going to bring to light something of a restrictive nature. Something that the United States have done. Something so hateful that it just gets re-emerges. Something gets re-emerged. And for a while, I've been thinking about what possibilities they could be. They could be as, and they could be at the Trail of Tears. They could be the camps under FDR. And is there another one? I'm also hearing taxes on polls. Those are the three that I feel like if you were to reimburse them, that's where it will come in. It will come in the form of that. I don't see slavery. I don't see that. Are we getting that? No. They're telling me no because we already have it. That's something that we had in our system of government for quite some time. It's that we always had slavery, and we still do. It expanded the definition of slavery, not to just one, what to call it, one group to all groups. It kind of feels like they just expanded the definition, and they gave you that false illusion that you're not part of the slave system. We can also see in the prison system here in the United States that when they, when you are considered or taken as a criminal, you are forced to do free labor. That's a form of slavery. Oftentimes or not, they compensate you with a low wage, or sometimes they don't compensate you at all. It is also still considered slavery if you are working, getting paid, but working well under the living medium in order to survive. That is also a version of slavery. It's a modern definition or a spin to it, except this time in the United States, they have modernized the term to make it appear and give a false illusion that slavery has ended when slavery is still here. So for those of you guys who are wondering, well, why that's the darkest time in American history. Oh, absolutely, 100%. But it's already been here since the very beginning. That is a system in itself that's going to collapse, which actually I should do a video on that, because since we're in Pluto's return, we should actually be discussing how it's going to collapse. So that would be a video for the future, definitely. That's something that I'm definitely going to pursue. Now, going into the last card here, which is the long-term future of 45 executive orders, we have the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man is reversed. This is definitely a lot of hateful energy. This feels like white supremacy, but more so than not, and I really hate to say this, because it actually does, in a way, make me very uneasy and a little bit nervous. Not that you should be nervous, but like I said, I'm not going to shy away from what makes me uncomfortable, because the things that we do and the way you grow is by facing the uncomfortable things head on so you can grow the most. So with that being said, think about what Elon Musk did with the salute. That's what it feels like. It feels like that energy, but like almost countrywide, nationwide. That's what it feels like. His long-term effect will only further amplify that. Which means that long after 45 is gone, this is something that's going to remain. Here we have the government and the Knight of Wands. This is telling me here that 45, in some way with the Hanged Man, is going to ensure that he does not leave. Or he's going to make it possible that whoever is in position of power at this point in time is not going to be able to leave position of office. Which basically means it's telling me here that they are going to pursue an avenue of a king-like energy where there is no election, or there is that false illusion of actually voting. But really, you're not actually voting. The system was already rigged before you even cast a vote. That's what it feels like. It feels like in some way they are going to do whatever they can to ensure that they stay in power. Because here we have the Ace of Wands, right? And this is the executive branch, the legislature. What is this legislator thinking? We have here, they're going to have some pushback here. We know they're going to be pushing back against it, because this totally disregards the legislative entirely. If you think about everything I said today, I already admitted to him doing some crimes. Entertainment purposes only, everything I say in here is just all alleged. But I am already admitted that the fact that a lot of the things that he did via executive order, according to what I've seen, is already criminal in hindsight. And it's illegal, and it's against the Constitution. Here we have options, they're consuming options here with the Seven of Cups. And here, what are those options? It's not exactly the Constitution anymore. What are they pursuing? Something else. And here, so maybe it is the Constitution. Maybe they are going to pursue the Constitution. Here's the King of Wands. Or they're going to try and do something. They're going to try and end his career, but I don't think they're gonna. I think here's the woman now. Here is the Queen of Swords here. So they might try and put her in, because maybe they'll say, hey, listen, we know that 45 may have helped us in the election and all that, but for the survival of us, we think Harris would be better, because we can still attack her and still be able to run and be able to be effectively leaders. 45 is essentially going rogue and basically getting rid of us. Like they don't need us anymore. That's what it feels like. It feels like the energy that as 45 stays president longer and longer and longer, the power of the Congress wanes. The power of the presidency increases. It grows exponentially, while the legislative branch grows smaller and smaller and smaller, insignificant. The same thing with the judicial. Smaller, smaller, smaller. The king-like energy. That is what it feels like is where it's going. And it feels like in some way the Republicans won't necessarily do the right thing because they're doing it for the country. They're going to do the right thing for them. And in that way, they should still be charged for insurrection and crime and treason against the United States. But That's just my opinion. Alright, so now that we saw the long-term effects and the executive orders that 45 is going to try to push through, let's talk about the fight between the legislature and the executive branch, because that seems to be a key note here that I've been getting in my reading, particularly in regard to the wooden snake versus, the wooden snake video, which is all about the Chinese snake year, and that is because of the Chinese Lunar New Year. So that would go all the way up until February 17th of 2026, of when we were going to experience the year of the Chinese snake, and I just started yesterday. So, and we also had yesterday goes, and it's all about unpredictability, massive, massive changes, and it's further amplified the power of Pluto. Okay, so let's go and take a look. Spirits and angels tell me, show me cards that represent the power of the U.S. presidency right now. The power of the U.S. presidency versus the legislature. You've been saying for a while now that there is going to be a time and a place that comes where the executive branch fights the legislature. Tell me all about it. Tell me all about it. What's going on here? What's going on with the presidency in this side here? What's going on with the presidency? So they're telling me actually this side is going to be the legislature. All right, so tell me, what is the legislature going to do? Legislatures, including but not limited to the Senate, and the House of Representatives. Okay, how are we doing this? This way or this way? This way? Okay. Tell me about the presidency. What's going on with the U.S. presidency? What's going on with the U.S. presidency, spirits and angels? How are we doing that? This way? Okay, am I taking the top or bottom, or am I shuffling? U.S. presidency versus the legislature. The number is Republican. Is there any other cards? Fine outcome. Trouble. Okay, so here we have the Strength card reversed, and the Three of Swords. It's telling me this has to do with all branches of government. All branches of government. They're gonna have a big problem with all branches of government soon. Here we have let's take a look. So the first card that comes out, this is kind of like the United States here. This is kind of like the does it kind of give us the moral of the story here? These four cards here on the left side are the legislature. These cards here are the presidency. And these cards, I don't know what they are yet. This is the final outcome card. I don't know what this is. This is the bottom of the deck. Okay, let's take a look. So here we have the Nine of Pentacles reversed, followed by the King of Cups upright. What's it telling me here that this is the king. A king-like energy, right? The male. But this is kind of like a calm leader in the midst of chaos, which tells me that 45 is going to be having more power while those people below him are panicking, which is why that water is waving pretty rapidly and very consistently. That a lot of discontent, a lot of worriness, and a lack of power that he feels like he has to control, which is why he's stable amidst the high emotional tension within the Congress. Here underneath him, we have the moon hidden, right? Look at all that water in the background. Look at all that instability. The water is moving very rapidly at a very high pace, right? That is telling you here that there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of emotions here that's going on within the U.S. Capitol. Let's look at the legislature, the power of the legislature. All right. Okay. This feels very strong. Like 45 is sending people to take out the legislature. Here's how I know that, and here's how I feel that. Here we have the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords are people running away from the King of Cups. They're running away from the King of Cups. And they're also running away with the Knight of Wands. This feels like the Democrats and the Republicans. And who are they running towards? They're running towards the woman, the female, the Empress. They're running towards liberty. They're running towards Lady Liberty. There's a chant here, and I said this earlier in the video, that it feels like in some way the woman comes in because the total disregard and the rogueness of the king, they go instead, they look towards the woman. I think if there was a way the Harris can go in, it might happen like this. It might go with 45 totally disregards the Constitution entirely and disregards the legislature and the judicial, and instead they instead break away from 45 and instead go towards the female. That could be what that meaning. It could also be them going towards liberty or going towards the Constitution, which is represented here in the specific reading as the Empress. Because the card that's also in reverse here is Knight of Pentacles, right? This is the thing, a horse that is slow moving or waiting to be told what's the next move. It's reverse, which means this is high, fast energy. This is fast energy. This feels like if anything, this would happen like this. That's how fast it could be. Running, stability, running. I mean, this is a lot of speed going on in the legislature. Now let's take a look and compare that to the presidency. This row here is the executive branch, which is ran by the president. Here we have the Five of Wands reverse, followed by the Temperance reverse, and then followed with the Devil card upright, which means this is 45 in hindsight. And underneath here, underneath the Temperance card here, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of Wands, which means injury in some way, which is injury in the stability in his own reign. It feels like the instability in his own power, that he does not understand his weakness. What this feels like to me, because I'm looking at the cards here, we have somebody running, they're not putting up a fight, which is why they're not putting up a fight. Here we have that Temperance, which also tells me that the instability within the Maccabees. We have here instability in the Democrats not. These two cards here, the Democrats not fighting. This is the Democrat card, this is the Republican card. Right? The Temperance here, they're not as loyal as they may seem. Like I said before, they're not that loyal. And here you have the Empress, the woman here, and the man here. So I guess there is going to be that battle. Because remember in my other, actually I never posted that video, I don't think. I made a video last night on are the Democrats complicit? And it told me no, they're not actually. They're just waiting for their time. They're waiting for their time to come in. And here you have the Empress card here, and you have the Devil. And they're going up against each other. And it said in that video, the presidency is still up for grabs. And it still looks, the presidency is still up for grabs. Because I said she goes in unconventionally, and that's what it feels like. Because going back into the reading again, you have the Knight of Wands, which is represented here, and then the Knight of Pentacles reversed, which is high speed and hurtness. They gotta pay attention where they're going. And I don't think he's paying attention where he's going. I don't think the legislature knows exactly where they're going. There's gonna be discontent between the Capitol and the House and the Senate. What's interesting enough, though, is we have on the left side of the women, which is the female here, she's looking at the Fool while the Fool is not looking at her. The Fool is about to fall off the ledge. He's falling this way, right? Falling down. He's going to fall on the Knight of Wands and the Empress, not on the Knight of Swords, but he's going to fall on, the Fool is going to fall on the Knight of Wands and the Empress, which means they're going to land back on the feet of the Constitution. Despite the fact that they are, it says here they're leaning in that way. They're leaning back towards the Constitution. They're going back and forth. The question is, they just have to fall. And if they fall, they're going to fall on the Knight of Wands. And with that, they fall on the Knight of Wands. He moves quickly and he goes right into the Constitution. That's what it feels like. It feels like that type of energy. Here we have on the right side, the woman is not looking at the other woman. The woman is looking ahead towards the future, which is represented here. This is the future, this is the past. The Queen of Wands is looking towards the trouble that's coming ahead, the trouble that's coming in the United States. This also has to do with regard to the legislature versus the executive, the executive versus the judicial, and the separation of power and the checks and balances within that, and stated by the Constitution. She's looking towards the future, which this has to do with the Queen of Wands, which has to do with the United States of America. It is also right above that least path of least resistance in some way. Because underneath here, the Queen of Wands, we have the Nine of Swords, right? We are upset about what has happened, right? The Queen of Wands is supposed to be president, but she wasn't. It was stolen from her. Whereas the Fool card here is upright, while the Page of Swords is reversed, which means that loss of fight. But again, the Democrats are heading towards this, again, heading towards the Constitution in some way. They're going to do something with the Constitution. Which I'm going to have to do a part 2 and kind of find out what exactly they're doing with the Constitution and why it's the Republican and the Democrats running, because it almost feels like it's a battle here. Because you have the Democrats here running high speed. You can tell that this is speed, like the Knight of Swords, and you compare it to the Knight of Wands. We can all tell who's moving faster. The Democrats are moving a lot faster than the Republicans. Right? So the Democrats actually might make it there first. And that's why the Queen of Wands and the Page of Swords reversed is indicating here, yeah, we may have lost the fight, but it's not over yet. Is there anything else? Okay, they're telling me I did a good job, so thank you, Spirit. And here we have the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords is followed by the Four of Swords here, was telling me they're going to try and end the career, but it's not going to work. But here is the Chariot, somebody going into something. There's a celebration of some type. And what is that celebration? We have the Two of Wands. I'm hearing Pentagon as I was reading that. So something going on with the Pentagon here. We have the Strength card reverse with the Death card reverse. This means there's a transformation, but it won't be for the strength. It will be for something else. And it has to do with the people. The people, the American people, the Two of Cups. Okay, so moral of the story, guys. Moral of the story is a lot's going to happen. And if Harris was to go in, this seems like the likeliest path that she goes in. I'll have to read more on there to kind of see more of the story, kind of get a deeper detail. I would like to know more about what's going on. I can't right now because I'm going to work. So anyway, guys, I love you. Have a great night. I'll see you all soon. Bye.